Hi, boys and girls. Good morning. Today I'm going to read you from the book, The One and Only Ivan. We started reading last week and we met some new characters. We met Ivan, the gorilla. We met Stella, the elephant. We heard about Julia and Mac, who work in the mall and clean up in the evenings. We heard about Bob, the dog, who's Ivan's friends. I'm thinking it's the beginning of the story and the setting is in a mall, but there's wild animals. It doesn't sound great to me. I'm feeling a little worried and concerned when we heard that Stella had the hurt foot, and she didn't sound like they cared very much about helping her get better. So I'm a little worried, and I'm surprised that Ivan isn't really complaining about where he lives. He seems not to be bothered. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I'm going to read a little bit more today. I want to start with a chapter called Bob. You can follow along in the PDF that is attached. And we'll read a few chapters today, and then we'll read some more tomorrow and the next day. So Bob. I explained my plan to Bob. Ivan, he says, trust me on this one. The problem is not your appetite. He hops onto my chest and he licks my chin, checking for leftovers. Bob is a stray, which means he does not have a permanent address. He's so speedy, so wily, that mall workers long ago gave up trying to catch him. Bob can sneak into cracks and crevices like a tracked rat. He lives well off the odds and ends of hot dogs, and he pulls out of the trash. For dessert, he laps up spilled lemonade and splattered ice cream cones. I've tried to share my food with Bob, but he's a picky eater, and he says he prefers to hunt for himself. Bob is tiny, wiry, and fast, like a barking squirrel. He is nut-colored and big-eared. His tail moves like weeds in the wind, spiraling and dancing. Bob's tail makes me dizzy and confused. It has meanings within meanings, like human words. I am sad, it says. I am happy, it says. Beware, I may be tiny, but my teeth are sharp. His tail says that? Gorillas don't have any use for tails. Our feelings are uncomplicated. Our rumps are unadorned. Bob used to have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Humans tossed them out of a truck onto the freeway, it's the highway, when they were just a few weeks old. Bob rolled into the ditch. The others didn't. There's a picture of Bob. His first night on the highway, Bob slept in the icy mud of the ditch. When he awoke, he was so cold that his legs would not bend for an hour. The next night, Bob slept under some dirty hay near the Big Top Mall garbage bins. The following night, Bob found a spot in the corner of my domain where the glass is broken. I had dreamed that I had eaten a furry donut, and when I woke up in the dark, I discovered a tiny puppy snoring on top of my belly. It had been so long since I had felt the comfort of another's warmth that I wasn't sure what to do. Not that I hadn't had visitors. Mac had been in my domain, of course, and many of my keepers. I'd seen my share of rats zip past and the occasional wayward sparrow that fluttered through the hole in my ceiling. But they never stayed long. I didn't move all night for fear of waking Bob. So the puppy was thrown out of a car, and Bob found his way into the crack inside Ivan's domain. Next chapter, Wild. Once I asked Bob why he didn't want a home. Humans, I had noticed, seemed to be irrationally fond of dogs, and I could see why a puppy would be easier to cuddle with than, say, a gorilla. Everywhere is my home, Bob answered. I'm a wild beast, my friend, untamed and undaunted. I told Bob that he could work in the shows like Snickers the poodle who rides Stella. Bob said Snickers sleeps on a pink pillow in Mac's office. He said that she eats foul-smelling meat from a can. He made a face. His lips curled, revealing tiny needles of teeth. Poodles, he said, are parasites. Next chapter, Picasso. Mac gives me a fresh crayon, a yellow one, and 10 pieces of paper. Time to earn your keep, Picasso, he mutters. I wonder who this Picasso is. Does he have a tire swing like me? Does he ever eat his crayons? I know I've lost my magic, so I tried my very best. I clutch the crayon and I think. I scan my domain. What is yellow? A banana. I draw a banana. The paper tears, but only a little. I lean back and Mac picks up the drawing. Another day, another scribble, he says. 1 down, 9 to go. What else is yellow? I say, and I scan my domain. I draw another banana, and then I draw 8 more. I guess he doesn't really have too much going on inside his domain. Next chapter, 3 visitors. 3 visitors are here. A woman, a boy, a girl. I strut across my domain for them. I dangle from my tire swing. I eat 3 banana peels in a row. The boy spits at my window. The girl throws a handful of pebbles. Sometimes I'm glad that the glass is there. My visitors return. Next chapter. After the show, the spit pebble children come back. I display my impressive teeth. I splash in my filthy pool. I grunt and I hoot. I eat and I eat and I eat some more. The children pound their pathetic chests. They toss more pebbles. Slimy chimps, I mutter. I throw a me-ball at them. Sometimes I wish the glass was not there. Next chapter. Sorry. I'm sorry I called those children slimy chimps. My mother would be ashamed of me. Next chapter. Julia. Like the spit pebble children, Julia is a child, but that, after all, is not her fault. While her father, George, cleans the mall each night, Julia sits by my domain. She could sit anywhere she wants, by the carousel, in the food court, on the bleachers coated in sawdust. But I am not bragging when I say that she always chooses to sit with me. I think it's because we both love to draw. Sarah, Julia's mother, used to help clean the mall, but when she got sick and grew pale and stooped, Sarah stopped coming. Every night, Julia offers to help George, and every night he says firmly, "Homework, Julia. The floors will just get dirty again." Homework, I have discovered, involves a sharp pencil and thick books and long sighs. I enjoy chewing pencils. I am sure I would excel at homework. Sometimes Julia dozes off, and sometimes she reads her books, but mostly she draws pictures and talks about her day. I don't know why people talk to me, but they often do. Perhaps it's because they think I can't understand them. Or perhaps it's because I can't talk back. Julia likes science and art, but she doesn't like Lila Burpee, who teases her because her clothes are old, and she does like Deshaun Williams, who teases her too, but in a nice way. And she would like to be a famous artist when she grows up. Sometimes Julia draws me. I am an elegant fellow in her pictures, with my silverback gleaming like moon on moss. I never look angry, the way I do in that fading billboard by the highway. I always look a bit sad, though. Next chapter, Drawing Bob. I love Julia's pictures of Bob. She draws him flying across the page, a blur of feet and fur. She draws him motionless, peeking out from behind a trash can or a soft hill on my belly. Sometimes in her drawings, Julia gives Bob wings or a lion's mane. Once she gave him a tortoise shell. But the best thing she ever gave him wasn't a drawing. Julia gave Bob his name. For a long time, no one knew what to call Bob. Now and then a mole worker would try to approach him with a tidbit. "Here, doggy," they'd call, holding out a French fry. "Come on, Pooch," they'd say. "How about a little piece of sandwich?" But he would always vanish into the shadows before anyone could get too close. One afternoon, Julia decided to draw the little dog curled up in the corner of my domain. First, she watched him for a long time, chewing on her thumbnail. I could tell she was looking at him in the way an artist looks at the world when she's trying to understand it. Finally, she grabbed her pencil and set to work. When she was finished, she held up the page. There he was, the tiny, big-eared dog. He was smart and cunning, but his gaze was wistful. That means like wishing. Under the picture, there were 3 bold, confident marks, circled in black. I was pretty certain it was a word, even though I couldn't read it. Julia's father peered over her shoulder. "That's him, exactly," he said, nodding. He pointed to the circled marks. "I didn't realize his name was Bob," he said. "Me either," said Julia. She smiled. "I had to draw him first." Bob and Julia. Bob will not let humans touch him. He says their scent upsets his digestion, makes him nauseous. But every now and then, I see him sitting at Julia's feet, her fingers moving gently, just right behind his ear. So Bob lets Julia touch him. I wonder what that says about the characters. Bob doesn't let any human touch him, except Julia. I think that means Julia's going to be a special character. What do you think? We'll read more tomorrow.